Harrison, and I'm completing this video as a partial requirement to fulfill my state certification. Today I'm talking to the students about acid and bases. We're doing a lesson in a unit on acid and bases. The lesson today is identifying acid and bases. Our learning outcomes will be students will be able to identify pH levels of solution and determine whether they're an acid or a base. Students will demonstrate their ability to work cooperatively by working in groups to complete the task. Our content strand is CCSS. We have our literacy strand that we have to infuse literacy into our lesson. And we have our science standards, which says students will be able to analyze and interpret data on the properties of substances before and after the substances interact to determine if a chemical reaction has occurred. We have our materials, as you see here. We have a lot of materials, some solutions for the students to test to figure out if they're acid or base. To determine, we have Clorox, we have water, there is Ajax and other solutions here for the students to test. That they will do a little bit later on. Before they go through that process, students will be asked to define key concepts or terminologies having to do with the lesson. They'll be asked to define academic acid, base, solution, pH, alkalinity, and dilution. They'll be asked to write it in a sentence, and then they'll be asked to turn the sentences into a jingle. When they have completed that, they will then move on into seeing the tutorial that is on the smart board for them.
Today, we will learn how food scientists use the pH scale in their work.
When that is completed, I will then take one of the solution, I will pour it into a cup, and students will be asked to take their litmus paper, which determines whether the solution is an acid or a base. Acid turns blue litmus paper red, and bases turn red litmus paper blue. So the students will be asked to work in groups, work cooperatively, which is a part of the requirement for them to be able to do peer tutoring and assist each other in meeting the standards. When they're finished working in groups, they will be asked to play a game as a form of review. And during this time, I will make accommodations for the students who have learning disabilities. They will be able to use the game to help them understand exactly what is an acid and a base. That's a review, making accommodations for our students with learning disabilities. When that is over, students will be asked to go home, find solutions in their homes, and test it, to determine whether it's an acid or a base. And that's the end of our lesson for today.